Warm Pacifica greetings to you all and a big mahalo lele. My name is Falahola Kanongataa, and I am deeply honored to be here today. I was born and raised in the beautiful island kingdom of Tonga on the remote island of Uiha, which is located in the Hapai Island groups of Tonga. It is a home to ancient burial grounds that hold a significant um, place in the Tongan history and culture. I moved to Hawaii 6 years ago, and now I call Oahu home, residing in Aiea with my loving husband and our precious 5-month-old baby boy. I am a program specialist with the Ohana Center of Excellence for Asian American, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders for behavioral health and substance use. I acknowledge the trust placed in me by my colleague Lily Noy, who was supposed to be presenting today but unable to. I do not take this opportunity lightly because I know that any opportunity given is a chance to grow, learn, and make meaningful impact. I am bringing with me today my ancestors' offer love, lototo, humility, tauhiwa, loyalty and commitment, and Feve Tokai Aki, sharing, cooperating, and fulfillment of mutual obligations. These values have sustained me as a proud native of Tonga and a Pacific Islander. I'm eager not only to share the work that we do at the Ohana with the Ohana Center of Excellence, but also to learn from your experiences and insights. So if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to ask. As I mentioned in the opening bullet, it is my desire to help that we find common grounds and that we find answers today to whatever you come seeking for this day. And whatever that may be, I like to think of it as every time I go to a conference, I always try my best to pay attention to the things that are not said. And what I mean by that is pay attention to how you feel during this session, because I believe that somehow we were all being led here today. And whatever the reason that led you here today, I know it's worth your time. And because your time is priceless, I'm grateful that you're investing it in here. So I pray that after this session, you may feel empowered and inspired with my journey to wholeness with the Ohana Center of Excellence to highlight and acknowledge the important role we each play in lifting each other, those whom we serve, love, and work with. And as I'll be giving an overview of the Ohana Center of Excellence and talk about what the Ohana Center of Excellence is, what resources we have, what do we offer, and how we approach the work we do. I hope that that by sharing some of the amazing projects that we're doing and their relevance to lifting the AANHPI populations and how they approach behavioral health from a cultural lens. Also, from my experience with the Ohana Center of Excellence, I will be talking about what worked for us and what we're finding effective when working with these populations. These are just the learning goals from the conference theme of this year. The slides are up. You can have a look at them when you have time. So what is the Ohana Center of Excellence, you may ask? The Ohana Center of Excellence is a resource for empowerment, education, and support for those seeking behavioral health care, including mental health and substance use resources. So whether you are community members or someone in the field of behavioral health that serve our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities, our resources are rooted in culture, language, and indigenous knowledge. We understand that the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities are vast and diverse, so our resources aim to reflect that diversity. The Ohana Center of Excellence is funded by the Substance Use and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, and is coordinated by the Hawaii State Department of Health in partnership with the California State University, East Bay, Papaola Lokahi, and San Jose University. And all the resources that are available in the Ohana Center of Excellence website are free. And should you wonder why and what interested me in, doing this kind of job in this resource center, I would like to highlight the phrase, our resources are rooted in culture, language, and indigenous knowledge. So throughout this session, you will be hearing me referring to some referring and sharing some of my personal experience, which have led me into this journey, my journey to wholeness with the Ohana Center of Excellence. Culture, language, and indigenous knowledge. We Pacifica are not just survivors, we're thrivers. And we navigated the challenges of colonization, migration, and cultural erosion. Yet our identities remain strong. As you may know, we've hosted the 13th Festival of Pacific Arts and Culture. I was able to attend and encourage and engage with some incredible individuals from across Oceania. I was inspired by their stories, resilience, and passion for preserving our culture. I realized that Tonga's unique history as the only Pacific Island nation never to have been formally colonized can sometimes lead me to believe that we are isolated from the impact of colonialism. However, this could not be further from the truth. As Pacific Islanders, we are we are linked across our vast ocean, and the effects of colonialism have undoubtedly rippled throughout our communities. And the struggles and triumphs of our Pacific neighbors are our own, and we must recognize and honor their shared history. What resources do we have and what do we offer at the Ohana Center of Excellence for AANHPI Behavioral Health? We provide culturally tailored training and technical assistance. We have a growing resource library available on our website, um, and where you can explore resources by location, by topic, and even have downloadable tools. We have a network of regional and national steering committee, people that represent our AANHPI communities with who guide our work by helping us to best understand the diverse needs of communities throughout the country and the Pacific. So this is some examples of the resource that we have or what we offer at the Ohana Center of Excellence. We we do survey. We try to tailor all the training materials and the training assistance that we provide to the communities to be culturally relatable to each culture. Even though we're serving um, the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders, we know that each culture is unique, and um, we try to cater to their specific needs with their own culture. Um, we don't just do we don't just combine AA and HPI all together, although that's all the populations that we're serving. We try to honor the rich culture and keep values of like the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders, and we tailor our trainings accordingly. I'm not sure if some of you have heard or have seen or have been in trainings where the Ahupua'a model is being discussed. And when I was first presented with the Ahupua'a model, that's when when I first started with working with the Ohana Center of Excellence. it instantly resonated with me in so many ways. It reminded me of who I am, where I'm from, and what's my kuleana, what my purpose in life, and where I want to go. And looking at this year's conference theme, a journey to Malama Pono, understanding that uh, we each have a responsibility um, to not only help us progress forward in life, but we have as Pacific Islanders, as Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders, we we've we somehow feel obligated. Not that we must, but it's within us that we want to reach out to others and help and serve, and that's who we are. And the Ahabwa model in itself is a whole training. And what I love about it is that it acknowledges that although we may face difficulties in life and health disparities and whatnot, but um, I try to go back to the values that I mentioned in the beginning: ofa, love, lototo, humility, tauhiwa, loyalty, and commitment, and feveito kai aki, sharing, cooperating, and fulfillment of mutual obligations. These are the core values of Tongan, and I take pride in it. I think of it as my ancestors' values, and I carry that with me everywhere I go. So I although the Ahupua'a model presents differently, but the concept that is the concepts are the same. We each feel the urge to help others and to help inspire, empower others with the work that we do. And we also are using ehui ananomoku, and this what Papa Ola Lokahi have been using, and we because Papa Ola Lokahi is one of the partners of the Ohana Center of Excellence. We are also using the ehui ananomoku as our approach from a cultural lens to harm reduction in the work that we do with the Ohana Center of Excellence. And this training provides a cultural approach to reducing the harm caused by colonization in Native Hawaiian communities, and also trains participants to utilize the tools within the toolkits for those they serve. It provides low barrier pathways to engage with culture and increases awareness of the harms of colonization that show up as substance use and mental health issues. These are some of the projects and upcoming projects that we're doing. The Ohana Center of Excellence, and yes, like I said, the slides is up here, and you're more than welcome to take a look at it. And the resources are free. If you're interested in utilizing any of these resources, please feel free to. I wanted to talk a little bit about the culture cards that Culture Card is one of the projects that we're working with, and the hope is we're hoping to build a culture card where this is where we value each of the culture that we serve. We're building a culture card where each of these cultures recognized, and what they're facing is being acknowledged, and what ways we can better help challenge the disparities that they're facing as a whole, instead of just letting them deal with it on their own. And one of the other project that we're also working on is that we're creating series to for students, and this aims to, help with career choosing, and it focuses on embracing cultural identity and values as essential to their practice while navigating the field. We know that it may be scary to, to navigate through this in life, but I know that, and I'm so grateful that we're doing this with the Ohana Center of Excellence, because like I mentioned, um, I was very drawn into this work because it centers in cultural language and indigenous knowledge. Like, I'm speaking for myself. I grew up in Tonga. English is my second language. I had to learn how to speak English when I was older, and it's, to know and to um, to know now that there's going to be resources available in Tongan, in Samoan, in all the languages of the cultures that we're serving, makes me so happy. It makes me so proud of how far we've come as a community and as Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders, as Pacifica as a whole. Um, yes, so we have like these what we're moving towards. To We're expanding language access. We're hiring translators and interpreters. We're identifying resources that can be translated. Like I mentioned, the culture card. Um, we're also refining technical assistance trainings that we're providing, and like from the previous ones we've had, to see what worked and um, what is needed in the Pacific. So I was asked to share from my perspective, as from my experience working with the Ohana Center of Excellence for the AANHPI Behavioral Health, to share how my experience and how I've witnessed the struggles, the success, and the challenges um, of the work that we do, the Ohana Center of Excellence. So I was asked to share my perspective into the importance of lifting the cultures that we serve, or the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders. And to be honest, I thought about so many things, and there are so many things that I've learned, and I know that all of you have different ways of approaching the work that you do. But I like to think of this as how, like, the importance of lifting the cultures we serve. No, just think of the word lift. Um, like, L stands for lead with compassion. Um, takes back to when I share about what I bring to this session. Love, offer in Tonga means love. So lead with compassion. Um, to me, I feel like I came into this work with zero knowledge of behavioral health and whatnot. But I found that it's been very effective, to learn. Like, once you become um, once you are a provider, you're no longer just a provider, you're a leader. You are leading, and everybody is having expectations of you. Everyone is looking up to you. And I think it's very important that we lead with compassion. As Pacifica, we have it's natural for us to love and to have that as an attribute as a leader. I think it's very important. You will find, as long for myself, I've found in so many encounters that I've had in my life, and not only that, but in the work that we do with the Ohana Center of Excellence, that um, to lead with compassion. It's one way to lead, and it's totally another thing to lead with compassion. Like you're showing the people the community and the population that you serve, that you're not just there to fulfill a role or to tick off a box of this is, you know, this is something that needs done. Okay, it's done. But when you're doing and when you're leading with compassion, you're allowing um, you're allowing others to make connection with you, and you're building relationship, which is one of the learning outcomes of our conference this year. You're building that relationship. You're forming that connection between you and the people that you serve. So uh, they feel valued, and they feel like um, you're not you're not doing like you know what I mean. It's easy to feel that when you're compassionate, or you're passionate about the work that you do. And I think of I as inspire positive change. I've When I first started with the Ohana Center of Excellence, I I know I had um, I know I had some potentials in growing and learning the roles and what I need to do in order to accomplish the goals and vision um, of this project. But I'm very grateful for mentors, and to say the least, like my Papa Lokahi family and Ohana. They've been very inspiring in helping me make positive changes in my life. And I feel that's very important um, in working with uh, in in trying to implement cultural approaches into the work that we do, making sure that you're inspiring um, whomever you're serving to to make that positive change that they need in their life. And if I think of it as foster inclusive environments, be inclusive. Um, we often I love that the Ohana Center of Excellence is that there's Ohana in there. We often hear Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind. And that's I feel like, to me, that's very important because when we're being inclusive, we're not leaving anyone behind. We're um, we're reaching out. We're always following up with them and making sure that they feel loved and they feel valued. And one thing I've learned when working in this project is that a lot of us, it's not that, like, we face different challenges in life, and it's not that we don't want to come back and feel included and feel like we belong somewhere. It's sometimes we don't feel like we don't know where to look. So that's why it's important as a leader and and as a healthcare provider to make everyone um, feel included. And T stands for transform lives through sharing your story. For a very long time, I was very skeptical about sharing my story, especially one to begin with. I I feel like I felt like I did not know enough English to portray my story and to tell my story. And then other times I felt like I didn't have the experience. But I've learned that the more like we each have like different and unique stories to tell. And, no one is going to tell those stories but us. So you never know who's going to learn from from what from your story, from what you've experienced. And um, like we're all on this journey called life. And some of us find it easier than others. But like the old Hawaiian proverb, he ala kike, he ala kike eke e ahi ki ike mole. The path to success is not always straight. My journey has taken me in circles. It has certainly challenged me in every way possible, but I wouldn't have it in any other way. Because looking back, those challenging moments were my refining moments. And I'm where I'm at today because I had help along the way. I had leaders, I had providers, I had mentors who led with compassion, who inspired positive change, who fostered inclusive environments and transformed my life through sharing their story. When they share their story, I just wanted to be like them. And I hope you're being inspired and you're being empowered. Um, if there's just one thing I would like for you to take away from today's session, from this presentation, is to know that you can make a great impact and your story is unique, and there's a reason why your story happened to you the way it did, and why you go through things in life that at times you feel like it was breaking you, but really um, they were building you to become the leader that you're meant to become, and um, to one day be able to use your experience and reach out to those who are in need or who are still struggling to find their way out of whatever they may be facing. To Yes, I also wanted to share this story. It's personal to me, but I want to share with us today. And it's when, like, I talk about a lot of times where I've been challenged, and uh, where life has taken me in circles. And there was this time where I felt that giving up would seem the easiest option. And there were times when the struggle seemed too much to bear. The weight of my responsibilities, the pain of my losses, and the fear of my unknown future all converged, threatening to crush me. In those dark moments, giving up seemed the easiest option. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of despair, with no lifeline in sight. I remember crying out, "Why must it be so hard? Why must I suffer so much?" I felt abandoned, forgotten, and alone. The voice of doubt whispered in my ear, "You're not strong enough. You're not good enough. You'll never make it." But even in the depth of my despair, a spark of hope remained. A spark that flicked, the knowledge that I was not alone, and that there was a plan for me, and that I was meant to prosper. And what I experienced was not to harm me, but to help me. With the newfound determination, I chose to hold on to that spark, to fan it into flame, and to let it guide me through the darkness. I realized that giving up was not an option, for it would mean surrendering to the darkness and forfeiting the blessing that lay ahead. And so I persevered, one step at a time, one prayer at a time, one tear at a time. And as I did, the darkness slowly disappeared. The light of hope grew brighter, and the voice of doubt was silenced by the whisper of my ancestors' values: ofa, love, whakapaapa, humility. Mamahi imea and Feveito kai aki. As I reflect on my life journey, I am reminded of the profound impact on my father's passing on my mental health and behavioral health well-being. Growing up, my family faced numerous challenges, including poverty, addiction, and drama. Despite these struggles, my father's love and support were a constant source of strength for me. But in 2018, while I was serving a mission for my church, I received the devastating news that my father had passed away. The grief and shock I felt was overwhelming, and I seemed like I would have it would um sorry, and it seemed like the world had been turned upside down. I struggled to come to terms with the loss of my rock, my confidant, and my best friend. The days that followed were dark and challenging. I felt lost and alone, and my mental health began to suffer. I struggled with anxiety, depression, and feeling of guilt and regret. I questioned my purpose and wondered if I had the strength to continue. But as I navigated this storm, I discovered a resilience within myself that I never knew I had. I learned to lean on others for support, to seek help when I need it, and to practice self care and self compassion. I found solace in my faith, in nature, and in the kindness of strangers. Through my journey, I have come to understand the importance of behavioral health and mental wellness. I have learned that grief is a journey, not a destination, and that healing takes time, patience, and support. I have discovered that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope, always a way forward. Today, I'm proud to say that I'm a survivor, a warrior, and a beacon of hope for others. My story is a testament to the human spirit capacity for growth, transformation, and healing. If you're struggling with grief, mental health, or behavior challenges, know that you're not alone. Seek help, seek support, and never give up on yourself. You are stronger than you think, and there is always a way forward. Thank you. Sorry, do we have any questions?
How long has this program been going on?
So the Ohana Center of Excellence is a 5-year grant project, and we're beginning on the third. We're in the
Oh,
third
okay.
year.
Great.
Sorry, do we have any questions, comments, or feedback, ways I can improve? I'm open to everything.
What inspired you to come to Hawaii from Tonga?
Thank you. Yes, so I moved to Hawaii in 2018. I came to attend BYU. So I came to school. I I did my undergrad BYU. Um, and you know, if that answer your question,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
There's some questions in the chat.
Yes. What type of resources would you have wanted when you were in Tonga for schooling and learning English? I, mental health and mental health is more of a taboo. Like we don't talk about mental health at all in Tonga. It's like if you're like um when I moved to Hawaii and I started um learning about mental health, I was like I was in a shock. I was like, oh my goodness, I know people in Tonga and I know like close friends, family and friends who've experienced these symptoms, but they were never looked at as, you know, a mental health like issue. It was more of oh, you might have done something wrong, or your ancestors might have done something wrong, that something bad is happening to you. So I feel like resources on mental health, like to educate in the students in Tonga in earlier days of their of their schooling, so they can be aware and just everything we have because Tonga is like spread out. We have for example, to go from the main island to where I'm from, you'll take the boat and it's almost a whole day boat ride. So you can already imagine um, the struggles to to send resource from one place to another. So we didn't have much growing up, especially when I was going to primary school. I I remember like only reading English when my sisters from when they were already in the main island going to high school, when they come home after um, every school year, they would bring a little book in English, and that's that's where I first. I mean, that was my first experience with like learning English. But yeah, like at this time at this point, I feel like reading books for kids for like and then for yeah, just all resources in available in English is needed in Tonga.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
In your programs, what do you do for nutrition education? And what kind of foods, what kind of a nutritional plan are you teaching?
I'm sorry. Napua, can you help me with this one?
There's no programming
Yeah.
or curriculum that we use for nutrition, but there have been discussions about the importance of accessing cultural foods for NHPI communities. And we have 3 more years of this grant, so we might be able to continue on that journey in nutrition. Do you have any questions or suggestions?
I do, thank you. Yeah, the the belly that now that our gut is going to determine everything else, and if we're putting in white sugar and white flours, which was expressed earlier in another program, the mind's not going to work right. And so as we do return to our native foods, whatever that to be, which takes a lot of work to return to the actual native food, right? Then the DNA in the body will remember the essence of that food. Let's say a coconut. Your DNA is 30 to 60% the same DNA as a coconut tree. And so as we use the coconut, the DNA in the physical body expresses the same resiliency, sustainability that we see in a coconut tree. So from my years of working in addiction, got to fix the gut, got to put the right kind of foods in. Mental and emotional is essential. You got to also bring in food because that's what's making the mind do some crazy things sometimes. Make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think there's a couple other questions in the chat box.
Yes. I see. Can you share community responses from other presentation about the Ohana COE? Auntie Kathy, I will have to get back with you with your question, the answer to your question. Sorry. And, and there's also a question to, you have anything to share about the Tongan view of behavioral health? There is a TED Talk on YouTube by Dr. His Tongan, Dr. Baka. Let me see if I can find it and share it here.
While you look for the resource, Falahola, some of the community responses to presentations, the Ohana Center of Excellence has presentations that are focused for for Native Hawaiian communities, Pacific Islander communities, and many other Asian communities. There's a lot of webinars, and we're starting podcasts to highlight the work of AANHPI researchers, community advocates, um, scholars, and trying to touch on some of the emerging concerns that the community has been sharing, some long-standing concerns and some new ones. And so based on our community feedback, we try to connect with presenters to share about those issues.
Thank you, Nabua. I just posted the link to the TED Talk I was talking about. Like I said, we don't really have a lot of resources available right now, like in Tongans and from the Tongans in regards to behavioral health. But this TED Talk is really good. If you have if you have time, please go listen to it. And what other questions do we have?
There's one about Ava or Kava.
Mutual alternate level. To be honest, I don't know. Like if you're asking specifically if it's part of the behavioral health process in Tonga, I don't know.
Glenda, did you want to expand on your question?
I only asked because I service different cultures, all of which they find depending on the culture. Kava is they it's rank high. One of my family said it's above kings, right? They use that in rituals for healing, for respect. So I just wanted to know if it was in alignment with what you folks are doing, if that was of an importance in your program.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking like Tongan behavioral health process. But you were asking specifically for the work that we do with the Ohana Center of Excellence, correct?
Correct.
Yes, so the trainings that we provide, Nampun mentioned, there are replays available that are available on the website. And I don't believe like I don't believe we've done one with the drinking ava and kava. Napo, if you have answered to this question.
No, we haven't, but it's such a common medicinal drink that it would be important for us to share or to curate a webinar about it. I'm just trying to find the page number in our Ehuiana Namoku resource that Falahola was sharing earlier in her presentation. We have a section, a chapter around AVA. This Ehuiana Namoku is focused on Native Hawaiian harm reduction, and it has this explanation where we talk to some kupuna and traditional healers, Native Hawaiian traditional healers, about their view of AVA and its use, and it might shed some light on the questions that you're asking and communities you're serving. I think it's on page 39 if you wanted to look into the link I put in the chat.
I see one question. What are some specific challenges or needs you believe are most important for addressing behavioral health among the young Tongan community, and how we can better support them in this area? I mean, I didn't think it would be so much difference with the youth, the Tongan youth, who grew up in Tonga and the ones here in the US. I mean, in saying that, I mean, there's different there's going to be different approaches depending on if you were brought up here in the US or in Tonga. So there are some challenges really, and one I'd like to point out is that we in Tonga right now we seems to like a lot of the issues that are like currently experienced in Tonga as a whole island, as a whole nation, is that um, we get a lot of Tongans who were born and raised like they grew up in the States and they get deported back to Tonga when they do something bad here in the US. So we don't have a system to, to when they come home, how are they being handled? And so because in Tonga we see people who come from overseas like as role models, and the youth, the younger ones, um, who are being raised in Tonga, they look up to these kids who are being deported from the U.S. For instance, they look up to them as a role model, and they think, oh, like why were they being deported, um, and they think that whatever they did to get them deported back to Tonga, they think it's cool, and they want they want to be like them, and so there's different challenges, but if you're asking specifically for like I can't name any. I mean, I can't speak for younger ones who were being brought up in the States, but definitely for the ones back home in Tonga, you know, like dropouts and looking like doing drugs and whatnot. And sorry, I'm trying to read that question at the same time. And I mean, if there's a way that we can create, that's something that's very missing from our Tongan community, is that we don't like to talk about our struggles. We don't like to talk about the mental health issues that we're facing. Even if I had to say, even if we create a safe space, I don't know how comfortable that is going to open up someone like a younger Tongan, to talk about their struggles, to talk about their like for I speak for myself. Like I still find it hard to to talk about um, behavior health, mental health, because we were never like we were never uh, we never talk about it growing up, and so that in itself is already a challenge. Is getting a Tongan or a younger Tongan who even I mean I also see it here, like being here in Hawaii. I also see it in the Tongans here. It's just hard to to talk about it. And it's something that we really need to focus our work on, breaking that the stigma, and like creating safe space. I feel like um that's like we can start with that, like creating a space for them to be able to feel comfortable about talking about their experience, and just knowing that there's help and there's resources available for them.
Thank you. Sorry. I know that was kind of like a hard, not a hard question, but a hard kind of a hard question. And I understand what you're saying because my other half is Tongan, born and raised. He's from La Paja. And so I see the difference when it comes to mental health. There's some challenges where it's some things, some issues that occur. He doesn't want to speak on it. And then I try to ask him the same question that I asked you so that I can better service the kids in our community. But I understand it a bit more now. I think it's just going with the hierarchy and how it is back home and in school. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for your question. And I mean, I like to think of it as, like it's almost like I know I can't speak for like for every Tongan, but for myself, I was born and raised in Tonga, and coming to Hawaii, like new experience, new environment, but it was almost like it was a great realization for me that it felt like I was behind doors, I was in the darkness, and now I'm being brought to light. All these things showing like I never thought about this, but like because now I see like I'm being brought to light, if that makes sense. Now I see all this and I want to help address it. And I'm I'm just so grateful that, even though although I wished it was different and that we had and that I had the resources available now growing up, I know that there's still time to make that, change and help inspire the Tongan youth that it's okay uh, to not feel okay. It's okay to speak up, and that whatever the reason that's holding them back, their their mental health and their wellness is far greater than what's holding them back.
I have a question.
Yes.
Uh, so right now, self-care, taking care of yourself physically, mentally, has been something that many people talk about, share about, and learn. Uh, for Hawaiians, we are continuously learning different ways of self-care, returning back to our cultural practices, or learning how to meditate and whatnot. When I went to American Samoa and I brought up self-care, they looked at me like I was crazy. And it is because thinking about themselves, just individualistic, wasn't even something a part of their culture. And their self care is everybody's care, collective care. Is there a certain kind of understanding or belief or practice around self care or collective care for a Tongan community?
Thank you for your question, No, I can so relate to that. Um, like you guys probably have heard like there's this joke that goes around: if you're married to a Tongan, you're married to the family. You don't marry to the individual, and that's I mean, I'm so I'm so determined to break that. I it's the idea of you. I feel like it's more like the misconception of what what self care is. We're so drawn to um, you do something. It's not just you. You're taking your community, your family, your everything. Like as a Tongan, you don't like, and I take pride on that. I'm so proud to be a Tongan, and I take proud, I take pride on the values and the things that I've learned growing up. But like Samoa, um, like you don't. It's going like I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. You're going to be called like a selfish person if you think of yourself first. Um, so consider all the aunties and the uncles and and everyone else's needs before yours. So that's also one challenge that's faced by Tongans. So the idea of self-care is, as long as everyone else around you is happy, it's sad, but your happiness doesn't matter if everyone else is not. Does that make sense?
I believe that's many cultures, though. I don't think it's just Tongan and American Samoan. I think there's still many cultures that rely on the community, and that's the way it's worked forever. The thought of independence is, yeah, that's more of an American colonial type of thinking instead of a collective. So it makes sense to me that it's still happening, and it's for a reason, evolutionarily at least. Thank you.
Okay, I believe we do not have any more questions. Again, I want to thank you all so much for being here today and for being patient with me. I know I'm just learning my way around here, and I'm so grateful for, the questions and the feedbacks and, you know, everything that's been shared and learned today. I hope you at least learn one thing from my presentation today. Mahalo so much.